Radio 1 presents the second part of Queen. In the first programme, we covered the musical development of Queen from their first album right up to their chart-topping single Bohemian Rhapsody. And in the second programme, we'll be talking again to Queen about their music. We'll be playing tracks from A Night at the Opera, Day at the Races and News of the World. First of all then, let's go to Queen's drummer, Roger Taylor. I've noted down here, Roger, that when you're not playing or recording with Queen, you're quite interested in motor racing and in cars.
Well, more cars, really. I'm not that up on motor racing. I have Autosport every week. But, I mean, really, this is a full-time job. It keeps us so busy. I would never get time to go to any races or anything. I just like cars. They're rather nice.
But you have driven, haven't you?
Only once, yeah. It was a very minor thing, really. But it gives you a taste, you know.
You're not thinking of taking on Noel Edmonds down at Brands Hatch or something?
Oh, good God, I'd thrash him.
Hear that, Noel? Right.
Before he got in the car.
Yeah, that's even before he got in.
Anyway, that's our natural cue to I'm in Love with My Car by Roger Taylor.
The machine of a dream.
I'm in Love with My Car from A Night at the Opera. John, I believe you're very interested in stereo photography.
Stereo photography, yeah.
Tell us about stereo photography.
It's just like the old Weetabix things, you know, we used to get the two things with the viewers. You used to get two pictures, you know, both taken from a slightly different position, and you look through a special viewer, and you get a true 3D perspective effect. And you can have attachments, so you actually put on cameras, on special stereo cameras, to take three-dimensional pictures.
Three-dimensional slides? Yeah. I mean, you can't sort of project it, can you? Or...
There is a means. You've tried it, haven't you, Brian? Projecting.
Yeah, I got quite a long way into it, yeah. You can do it with a silver screen instead of a white screen and cross Polaroids and things. It takes a lot of setting up. It's very interesting.
Perfect for the average layman.
Brian...
It's very unfashionable at the moment because it was quite a successful form of photography in the 1920s and 30s or so, but it sort of went out of fashion for some unknown reason, because I think it's amazing.
Brian, I would have thought you'd have been interested too in holograms and...
Yes, strangely enough, holography was invented by Denis Gabor, who was a professor at my college, at Imperial College, where I went. So we had a holography course. Yes, I was interested. I don't really think it has as much application to the rock stage as people think.
You don't think you could incorporate holograms into your act?
You can, but the art is not at the state where it's going to be that good at the moment. The Who really are the people who've got most into using lasers as part of the stage show, but holography is a very dicey business, really, even with lasers, and to produce large-scale impressive things is more difficult than people think.
I believe they're far more advanced than we are in the States with holograms.
Yes, it's surprising though. I mean, I keep vaguely up with the developments, but it hasn't advanced hugely on the large scale. The small scale making of holograms commercially has advanced considerably, but problems are still the same. You need a large source of coherent light, and you need a screen to work the thing from. You can't suspend it in thin air yet, the image.
And back to John again. You're playing the electric piano on the next track, You're My Best Friend. How did you wrench the piano away from Freddie?
Well, Freddie didn't like the electric piano, so I took it home, and I started to... Because I never played piano before, and I really started to learn on the electric piano, and basically that's a song that came out, you know, when I was learning to play piano.
I refused to play the damn thing.
Was this a question of ethics or what?
They're tinny and horrible. I don't like them. Why play those things when you've got a lovely, super grand piano? No, I think it's... Basically, what he's trying to say is that there was a desired effect, really, in that.
It was written on that instrument, and really it sounds best on that, you know, often on the instrument that you wrote a song on.
Well, it got to number 7 in July '76, You're My Best Friend. You're My Best Friend, with John fingering away like fury on electric piano. Now we come to the grand subject of marketing A Night at the Opera. It's a fascinating subject. How did you conceive the album sleeve and everything else, and how did you go about marketing it?
Well, the sleeve had a sort of crest on it, didn't it? That's right.
And now you've designed that, right?
Well, it was an adaptation of an earlier crest that I did. It was done by David Costa, who worked in conjunction with us, and we made sure it's what we wanted. since then, I mean, as far as say marketing is concerned, it's a huge process. I mean, it covers such a wide area. Yeah, it's like we said before, we should sort of work on the album material, then we choose a single. In this case, and Night at the Opera case, it happened to be Bohemian Rhapsody, and with that we made a film, which helped us a lot. I mean, we did it with Bruce Gowers.
Yeah, we made a film.
A promotional
in
film.
rather short time, actually. We were just before we went out to tour in England when Bohemian Rhapsody was released. We were rehearsing up at Elstree, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just came in one night with a video truck, one or two little bits, and we did it in about 4 hours, didn't we?
Yes.
And
The film opened up a new avenue for us because the film was used all around the world and worked very successfully. I mean, it didn't only just get the record across, it got Queen across, both visually and sort of orally. And now it's really a part of the accepted pattern of marketing a single for any major, or in fact even a new band these days, or artist, to make the record, and they bring out the record, but they always have the film with the record. In fact, you can sell that film around the whole world and literally promote your records with it without actually being there. I think ABBA have turned that into a great advantage, yes.
John, how deeply do you involve yourselves with
we
the marketing?
involve ourselves artistically with the product, basically. I mean, obviously the album, the cover, and the film. We were very much involved with that. But as far as the actual sort of marketing, I mean, a lot is up to the record company. You know, as long as they don't do anything that is grossly in bad taste. You know, and we like to keep an eye on what they're doing.
Have you ever had a nasty shock, something you weren't expecting?
Oh yes.
Especially
There have been a few
many,
things.
I mean,
Yeah.
many posters.
Yeah, there's been some really bad things. There was one particular example in America we were very upset about, where they put out Liar as a second single, and when we heard it, we discovered that they'd chopped a good 60% of it out, just in a pretty random way, not even done the edits very well, and that was being put out as a single in America, and of course it was a flop. And we've always tried to fight for complete artistic control throughout the world. The normal thing is to send your copies of the master tapes when you finish the album to various countries, and they cut it. Now, in cutting a record, which is actually physically putting it on the disc, there's a huge amount you can do with it, and you can completely ruin a record which has been taken months to produce. And we've got some of the cuts back from countries that we didn't know about, and they've been horrific. It's funny, the first album in America was an interesting example, because they put it all through a very vicious limiter, which means that everything comes up to the same level and everything pumps. They call it pumping. So if you have a continuous note and a drum beat on top, then the continuous note goes up and down around the drum beat. And in fact, that improved some tracks, or made them... It's very strange. It gave them a particular
we really
sound.
knew a lot about the studio then.
It gave them a particular sound on American FM radio, which we discovered when we went there, that it did get us across very well. And we actually used that on subsequent albums. It's very strange how things can happen.
Let's have some more music. Brian, let's take one of yours. One that we're going to play of yours in a minute, from Night at the Opera, which is called Good Company, which has a George Formby-style ukulele on it, and trad jazz. Were you interested a lot in trad jazz?
I can remember the trad jazz boom, and I was very keen on a group called the Temperance Seven, who did in fact a sort of revival of the 20s arrangements for a jazz band. And that's the kind of thing I was going after on this track.
Take good care of what you've got, my father said to me, as he puffed his pipe and baby B dandled on his knee. Don't fool with fools who'll turn away, keep all good company.
Well, Brian, now we come to your personal record choice, and I believe instead of just having one, you're going to have half of one and half of another.
Yes, I'm very greedy.
Well, tell us what they're going to be.
Okay, this is going to bring us on to Jimi Hendrix, who I'm sure we can talk a lot about. I'd like to play the beginning of a track called A House Burning Down. The beginning of this, to me, is the most amazing, attacking beginning to a song I've ever heard, and it's the complete production job on guitars, bass and drums. I've never heard anything like it. And the other track is Angel Bird Can Sing, which is, I think, is just something that's very simple and very beautiful that the Beatles did. There's a lot of Beatles in us, I think. A lot of influence there, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And that was one of the things which I liked. A very simple song, very well done. And also a little bit of double tracking from George Harrison. I assume it's George, playing the little figures that go around the vocals. And that was an inspiration as well, because one of my dreams was to be able to do multi-tracking guitar on records. At that time, it was unheard of to do double tracking. I could name about 3 instances to do proper harmony work with a rock-sounding guitar. And George Harrison was quite a pioneer, because he had a go at it on this track.
Tell me that you got everything you want, and your bird can sing, but you don't get me. You don't get me. You say you've seen 7 wonders, and your bird is green, but you can't see me.
Brian May's choice from Jimi Hendrix, A House Burning Down, and the Beatles, And Your Bird Can Sing. And now, can we talk about Jimi Hendrix? Because I know Jimi Hendrix has been a prime mover to the group and a great influence to you all. Freddie?
He was just a beautiful man. I think he was just a master showman. No, what can I say? He's just a dedicated musician. I mean, he was just everything as far as I was concerned. And I went to numerous places to sort of try and catch his shows. Just magic. And it was really... It's quite sort of a treat to watch somebody just come on the stage. I mean, he didn't have the kind of props and things that we have today. It all emitted from him, from the person. It was just him and the guitar, very colourful, and just it was quite a stage act. You learnt a lot from that kind of thing.
Roger, I believe that when he died, you were at the Kensington Market, right?
That's true, actually, yes. How did you find that out?
I was...
yes. Yeah, I remember...
We shut shop in his honour.
Yeah, we shut up our stall and went home and had a good ball. Because it was
all his records.
Really, it was dreadful when he died. For me, yeah.
I also believe that when you did your big Hyde Park concert last year, that was on the anniversary of Jimmy's death.
It was.
Tell us about Hyde Park. How did that come about?
It was an idea we had where we were touring in Japan. We thought it would be nice to do something different in England rather than do the same old, tour, etc., the same old places. And we thought we'd like to do a free concert. And the best possible venue that occurred to us was Hyde Park, because it was more central than any other. It was an awful lot of trouble to get permission to play in the park, to hold the event. It cost us a fortune, etc. But in the end, it was worth it. We wanted to just make a good gesture, to do something for nothing. A lot of people still don't seem to realise that. I mean, there was no percentage from any angle in it, really.
Well, let's have some more music, this time from A Day at the Races and Somebody to Love, which got to the top 10 in December '76.
Find me somebody to love.